1322 life.
Where faith and finances meet.
Building wealth God's way.
Leaving legacy.
1322 life.
Hosted by Britt Smith, CPA.
More than money.
This is Kingdom.
This is Kingdom.
1322 life.
By Britt Smith,
CPA.
Wisdom, legacy.
God's way.
Hello and welcome back to 1322 Life. I'm so excited to be with you guys today. And today we are going to be getting into some really great stories that people have and need advice on. But before we start, of course, we're always going to open in prayer. So, dear Heavenly Father, first, I just ask for you to bless everyone who is listening to this. I ask for you to cover them, protect them, and just be able to hear the desires of their heart, Lord. Help them to just be obedient to you and what you're calling them to do so that you are both Lord and Savior in their life. And God, and then I just ask for you to bless their socks off as they obey you, as they follow you, as they trust in you. God, I just ask for them to just see the abundance coming. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. All right, so let's get into it. Today, we have a few good stories. We're going to start with moving back in with parents temporarily just for the money while looking for a house. It's great to be able to do, I guess. I'm a 30-year-old guy who has lived on my own and rented for years after I graduated college. I'm very interested in buying a house. I would much rather pay that money each month into my own equity, not my landlord's. And I've been looking since December, but I haven't had any luck yet. I don't live in a very high cost of living area, but the housing market is absolutely terrible for buyers here. I'm finding that in my current price range, there's a lot of crap for the money they are asking for. And I've been outbid on the few of them that I have bid on. Having a bit more of a cushion after I would mostly drain my savings to buy a house, I put 20% down on would certainly help my odds and maybe put me in a better price range for a bit better houses. The issue coming up now is my apartment lease ends in the summer. It's really not too bad of a rent payment, all things considered, but I can't help but think that I would save something like $1,700 minimum a month between rent and utilities if I didn't renew, roughly 40% of my take-home pay. I have no debt other than a $500 a month car payment. I have about 10 months left on, and it's a Toyota. I plan to drive it into the dirt after. Great plan. Also, I have no clue, even if my landlord would allow for a month-to-month lease, if I am looking at a house, I don't know if I would want to commit to a whole year. Basically, I'm thinking that temporarily moving back home would be a good move. Save my rent each month, not have to worry about timing on the lease if I do find a house at the cost of having to deal with my parents again. And I guess worse odds of meeting a girlfriend, which I haven't had any luck in years anyways, which I'm not thrilled with, but is it worth saving the money? I'm considering it. Would it make sense for me? I think you know if it makes sense for you better than any stranger here about living with your parents, because you said deal with your parents again. I don't know what that means. For some, it's a great thing to go back home. And I know many people that are living at home with their parents in their 30s and 40s and all sorts of ages. And I know people that are doing it so that they can get back on their feet. And I know people that are doing it because they don't want to leave the nest. So, there's that. So that is a personal decision on how well your relationship with your parents is. The fact that it's an option sounds like y'all have a pretty good relationship for it to be an option for you to move back in with them. I would say that would be great to have as your plan to just move back home until you're able to go buy the house. But I would also, really try to get at it. It looks like you posted this a few weeks ago. So I would say to get at it as much as you can with a good realtor that can help you find the best deal for you. That's going to be the biggest difference, is making sure you have a shark of a realtor that is really good at hunting and finding a deal and then negotiating it to your best interest. I think that's going to help you more than anything. After you do that, you should be able to buy in this market. And then the other thing is you could buy a house that needs some work. Because if they're quote unquote crap, as you call it, then that means that you can build the equity in it. Maybe you don't have to put as much down. You won't be draining all of your savings. And instead, you would be able to just put in some sweat equity You could learn how to remodel and do a bathroom yourself. You can even make a YouTube channel about it and get paid for it. I mean, we see people doing it all the time online. You can pretty much monetize almost anything, but just clean it up. Just do it. Like, so what if it's not worth that much to you at first, or you don't feel like it's worth that? You can find a great deal, but you can also put in sweat equity. And so, as long as your foundation is strong, and for the most part, some of the big things are good to go, like the roof, foundation, prayerfully HVAC, then go for it. Clean it up, get rid of the ugly, paint and the ugly carpet and, flooring and stuff like that. And if you do it yourself, it won't cost nearly as much as if you had to pay for a professional. And then where you just know you cannot DIY, you go ahead and hire someone who can get it done for you. So that would be my recommendation. I highly recommend you go forth that way and see what happens. But I think that definitely possible that you're able to get a house, but if not, move back in with your parents. It's not the worst end of the world. The next person we have is trying to get out of debt and need some help. So need help, $23,000 of credit card debt. Getting divorced, went from 2 incomes to 1. I have no children, so I didn't qualify for any assistance. He is a drug addict that blew our life savings, and because he can't work, racked up a lot of credit card debt. I had to stop paying. I can still pay care credit as it's only $5,000, but the minimum on the high limit card is too much. I called and tried to get hardship, hoping he would recover and maybe get a job. Now there's a protective order and he got the water cut off. I know I shouldn't have trusted him to pay, but I don't know if I should file bankruptcy or wait until they could take me to court and maybe settle. I'm doing Doordash to try and make extra, but I'm overwhelmed with just paying the bills and keeping the utilities on. I own my home, bought prior to marriage. What should I do? It's my only debt, but I make $24,000 a year, and $800 a month minimum is not feasible for me. Thank you for any advice. My God, you need to just go make more money. There's more money that you can make doing Doordash, Lyft, Spark is one of them, Instacart. Do all the things. $24,000 is not enough to live off of. Credit card debt is not that big of a deal. Pay it down and off. If you can't pay on it right now, so what? Let your credit go to crap. Make sure your mortgage is paid. Make sure that you have food in the house. Make sure your water is on. Make sure you have everything that you need flowing in your house first and that your needs are met. And you ignore that credit card. It's unsecured. They can't come for your house. So I would not care about it until, one, my needs are met. Then you need to get your money up as much as possible, and then you can attack the debt with a vengeance and settle it. I would definitely settle it. It's just not worth the headache. Do not go into bankruptcy. There's no reason. Like, this isn't even that much debt. I know it feels overwhelming for you. I know it feels like this is a year's salary for you, but you honestly could knock this out in no time if you just first increase your income and then also just stabilize your life. So first step for you is to stabilize your life. Make sure you have water on, heat or AC now in this weather. Make sure your electricity's on, stuff like that. Hot water is important. You need water, and then you need to make it hot when you get a shower. So, make sure your needs are met first, and then you can think about this credit card afterwards. But you need to increase income. And if all you're doing is DoorDash, you can do that by stepping it up a few. And I would maybe look into getting a job, put in a lot of applications in to get a job that's going to pay much more than that, because you cannot survive on that little bit of income. And that's why it feels like the debt is so much, but it's not much at all. You got this. All right. Eviction, I didn't know I had. What to do? I broke a lease early due to a new job. I had 3 months left on it, paid the lease break fees, all that. Everything was all good. This was about a year ago, May of 2025. Today, I applied for an apartment guarantor and was denied due to an eviction. I was shocked. They sent me their screening report, and that landlord from the apartment in May evicted me. Went to the court record, and apparently I didn't pay the full fee. I was $100 short. They never told me, took me to court over it, and I had a judgment entered against me and now an eviction on my record. I also automatically lost because I didn't show up in court. This was entered in August 2025. I was living and working in a different state and in a new apartment at this point. My original lease would have also been over this month. I have no idea what to do. I didn't get any of the notices of the court dates or anything. And also, obviously, this just looks terrible to landlords because it looks like I just didn't pay rent and refused to leave an apartment despite having near perfect on time rent payments and rental history aside from this early break. I'm freaking out. What the heck do I do? Huh. Well, first and foremost, like they're really awful for that. Should have been something that was just waived, or if they would have reached out to you, especially someone that paid on time every time, if they would have reached out to you, I'm sure you would have took care of the $100 fee and called it a day. To just assassinate someone's credit history and things like that is just shame on them for the landlord. Let's see here. There is an update. He said, I consulted a good friend of mine who is a lawyer. He cannot represent me, but he told me what to do. I filed a motion to vacate the judgment this morning with the court with proof I wasn't even in the state when all this happened, as well as serving it to both landlord and opposing counsel. He said, regardless of signing any documents of leaving or breaking the lease early, since I don't have proof of any of that, not even being aware of a court case was happening is enough for them to toss it because I can prove up and down that I was 2,600 miles away and living somewhere else. Courts take that seriously. So yeah, I think that if that's what the lawyer says, I say go for it. And like that was just really petty and unnecessary of them to do behind $100. Like that's one we can just chop up, especially when you paid all the other fees. It seems like you were in good faith trying to do this the right way. I cannot imagine someone just wanting to be that petty. Like that is beyond me. And then to a good tenant, nonetheless, like that's crazy. Let's go to the next one. My parents finally have a chance to own a home, but only if I give up my dream and sacrifice my 20s. Hmm. I, 25-year-old female, graduated in 2024 and started working full time at the same company where I had interned before. I've been living away from my family since I was 14. Oh, I attended a boarding school on a full scholarship and later studied at one of the best universities in my country, again on a scholarship that covered my living expenses. My family has never had much money, no house, no car. My father's 55 and still has to work because in Turkey, it's impossible to survive on a retirement salary alone. Because of this, I grew up very aware of our financial situation. I studied hard so I would never become a burden to my family. Now I live in Istanbul and work as an entry-level engineer at a prestigious company, but my salary barely covers the cost of surviving here. To my family, it seems like I earn a lot because they live in a small town where rent is 10 times cheaper. But in Istanbul, my salary is really just enough to get by. Recently, my parents were forced to leave the house they were renting, and they decided they wanted to finally buy a home. About 5 years ago, my father found a better job, and for the first time in his life, he was able to save money. They managed to save enough to cover about half the cost of a house with the qualities they wanted. On top of that, my grandmother had signed an agreement to buy an apartment shortly before she passed away, and my family inherited the mortgage payments for it. My father is still paying that mortgage, and eventually they will own that apartment in Istanbul. But because of that existing mortgage, they can't get another loan. So they asked me to take out the mortgage for a house in their hometown and split the monthly payments with my father for the next 5 years. He would pay 40K and I would pay 4,000 each month. For my mother, owning a home is her lifelong dream. She hates that she spent her entire life renting and living with the fear of eviction. I understand that dream deeply. I love my parents and I want them to have security and happiness. But at the same time, I cannot ignore the feeling that they are asking me to sacrifice my own future for theirs. I'm 25 years old. In 5 years, I'll be 30. Right now, many of my friends from university are doing master's degrees abroad while I feel trapped in a dead end job where I deal with constant mobbing and stress. The job market is terrible and I can't even risk even 1 month without income because I fully depend on my salary to survive. I hate my job. I hate that everything I've achieved, a prestigious degree, excellent grades, medals, extracurriculars, being valedictorian, I ended up here barely getting by while people I know who were far less accomplished are now studying at places like Harvard, Oxford, LSE, or TUM with their parents' financial support. I never expected my family to pay for my master's degree. I knew they couldn't afford that. My plan was always to work for a few years, gain experience, save money, and eventually pursue graduate school on my own terms. That dream has been keeping me going for years, and now my family is asking me to give it up. If I sign this agreement, I will be tied to this job in this city for at least 5 more years. By then, I'll be 30, and I feel like I will have lost the last years of my youth, the chance to experience being a student again, to live abroad, to build the academic and professional life I dreamed about. The hardest part is that they know how much this dream means to me. For the past few years, I've been crying over not being able to pursue a master's degree yet. They know how deeply I want it, and still they are asking me to put it aside for their dream instead. That's pretty selfish. My father recently called me and casually joked, Do you want to buy a house for 40K a month? As if he were offering something small. I asked him calmly if he truly understood what he was asking of me, whether he realized he was asking me to sacrifice my dreams and future plans. He didn't even understand what I am asking. He is placing the burden of an entire lifetime on my shoulders. Now I feel trapped between two impossible choices. If I say no, I will always feel like the daughter who refused to help her parents achieve their dream of owning a home. But if I say yes, I feel like I will lose my own dream, maybe permanently. And the worst part is that I don't even want to answer. I wish he had never asked me because then I wouldn't have to choose between my family and myself. If I say no and later fail to get accepted into a graduate program or fail to secure a scholarship, then I will feel like I refused them for nothing. But if I say yes, I may lose my only real chance to live the life I've worked toward for so many years. I don't want to answer this question at all. What to do in this situation? What would you do if you were the father? Oh, if I was the father, I wouldn't even ask what to do in this situation. I feel like the only response is you don't. You don't. You can try to do both, but the way that looks like is first pursuing your dream first. And then by you getting that master's degree and getting a better job that you love and enjoy being in, then maybe in 5 years or so, you can help them get a house because you're in a position to do so. But what you're not going to do is postpone your dream for 5 years to make their dream a reality right now. Now, also as a daughter that has lost a parent, like my daddy's not here, I can do nothing for my dad anymore. I still would not do this. Like his birthday is coming up, and I'm just like, man, I would love to get my dad another gift. I would love to spend more time with him. I would give anything to do, more things with him. But one of the things I also had to accept in his passing is that it's not my responsibility to build his legacy. Initially, it was my goal to open back up his business and keep it going and things like that. But now I let that go. And I let that go because it's not my job or responsibility to build his legacy. He passed away before he could build his legacy. And so that's on him. And if God ever allows me to, I will open up his business. I will, help try and build his legacy too, which will really still be a part of my own legacy because I built it. But, you know, I can't sacrifice what I'm doing to feel like, somehow, some way he's still here by me making his dreams come true. And so that's a completely different thing. Like your parents are alive, they can enjoy it, things like that. But I still say, go after your dream, pursue it with no end. And if they would have pursued their dream with no end, like your mom probably needs to go get a job. Maybe if she worked hard and found a new job and, where they could save even extra than that, then maybe they could have their house. But this is not on you. And if you do want to help them in that way, I think it's beautiful and you should, but you have to first be in a position to. And right now, living in a perpetual hell for another 5 years because you hate your job, you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you were valedictorian and all the things. So you are smarter than the Dickens and can get into these top prestigious schools and make that a reality for you. They will give you scholarships and things like that. You may not want to come over here to the USA right now, just gonna say, but go to a different one, go to a different prestigious school in a different country. Do it. Do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. You should do it. Pursue your dream with no end. And your father will have to find a way to forgive himself for even asking you something so ridiculous. It's not your fault. And it's not your duty. And I understand that culturally that may sound off, because I understand different cultures have different things. But I say pursue your dream relentlessly. And then prayerfully, your dream will open you up to being able to help their dream become a reality without it being a strain on you. You should be able to have more than enough in abundance so that you can then give out from a place of generosity in a good space instead of sacrifice. Jesus Jesus already paid the price of sacrificial giving right there on the cross. You don't have to give up your life like that for years. I wouldn't recommend it. So I think we're going to do one more today. Oh, another one. Feeling guilty about not wanting to keep financially helping my mom. Oh, that's tough. Okay. I'm feeling really conflicted and could use some outside perspective. I live in London and work full time. I do go out and occasionally go on holiday, but I'm not well off at all, especially since my rent went up after moving recently. My mom and stepdad struggle financially, and I help out regularly, usually lending my mom money at least once a month. Earlier this month, I lent her €80 because they're dealing with council tax arrears and other bills. They've also had to replace their car recently, so that's another monthly payment. What's making this harder is they've also booked a caravan holiday they're paying off in installments. Hmm. Even though the money is already really tight. I understand wanting a break and wanting nice memories for my nephew, but part of me feels like they keep committing to things they can't afford, and then I feel pressure to help cover the gaps. Now, my mom's asking if I can help again at payday, but realistically, I'd have to go into my overdraft to do it. I feel guilty because they see me enjoying my life while they struggle, but I also feel like constantly helping might just be enabling bad financial decisions. Has anyone else dealt with this? I have not dealt with this, not for my mom at least. You know, yeah, I would not. I would not. At first I saw €80. I was like, oh, okay, no problem. Like what's $80 to a family member, like, and to your mom at that. But the fact of the matter is that it will put you in overdraft. So now it's putting you in a financial strain to kind of make up for their poor decisions. One thing about it, two things for sure. Someone else's poor making in their finances is not about to affect Bree and her household. That's just not something that I like at all. So yeah, that will be a no for me. I ain't got it. I ain't got it. The account's at zero. I'm not overdrafting my account. Oh no. Overdraft is not even allowed in this account. I don't even have it as a feature. If it is a feature, it doesn't exist in this account. Like, no, don't have it. That would be, yeah. Who's going into debt for someone else's poor decisions? No. They'll figure it out. They found a way to sign their name on that dotted line. They better find a way to pay it off. They will figure it out. So yeah, it would be a big no for me. If it was something like, if it was $80 and you have it, sure, I would give it. But you don't have it. So you can't give from a space of lack. I'm always about giving from a place of abundance, like being able to give with a generous heart. Like the Lord loves a cheerful giver. I cheerfully give when I have it to give. I don't like to give when there's hardly anything left. The only person I'm doing that for is Jesus. Like God has to tell me to go bless this person or to give this to the church sacrificially, because if it's not coming from him, I'm not going to put myself in that position. That's just me personally. I call it survival of the fittest. Others may call it whatever they want, but I think that you have to take care of you first. Because if you're now in overdraft and horrible credit and, debt out the wazoo, now who they gonna call? Ghostbusters? So like, we don't have to get to that place where now you're in a struggle or things like that. Do not recommend. All right. So I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Please send in your Thorn letters. Go to 1322life.com, #Thorn. You see it right here. So just go there, submit your Thorn letters. I would love to be reading your story next and giving you advice. I love you guys. I hope you're having the most amazing day, and just go out and be blessed.
1322 Live.
All slid by Bree Smith.
CPA.
Faith. Finance.